So now we're going to continue on page 149, the conclusion. So this is the Tsok part of the practice. If you are not going to do the actual Tsok, then you can skip across to page 161. But we're going to go ahead and go through this part of the practice here. And so the first one is the blessing of offerings, and you can cross-reference that in the other commentary on page 74. So the Gana Chakra Tsok, usually we don't use both of those words because Gana Chakra is a Tsok and a Tsok is a Gana Chakra. But this is the method for quickly perfecting the two accumulations of merit and wisdom. In the quote here, of all the ways of accumulating merit, the Gana Chakra is supreme. With the Samaya substances gathered by the Dakinis, the inner offerings are excellently arranged. So basically we arrange the offerings as much as we can as a part of that, both things that are edible and drinkable. And as a part of that, it also mentions meat and alcohol. So in Tantra, those are considered to be required ingredients or required parts of the offering substances. But sometimes there are substitutions so that they are included, but on a symbolic basis. So the text then says, Hong, my heart emanates, Ram, Yam, Kam, and we repeat that 3 times as we sprinkle with water with the vase. Usually we just sprinkle that as we cite Ram, Yam, Kam. They purify any fault and defect in the Tsok offerings. Now Omahong, also typically repeated 3 times. Transform them into nectar in a proliferation of offerings of sensual stimulants as vast as space. So whatever it is that we have there that we are offering, it has just multiplied to the full universe. So in the commentary it says, visualizing yourself as the deity, you now emanate Ram, and then fire. Ram is fire, so fire bursts out and burns away all grasping at reality, all thoughts and concepts, habitual tendencies, and so forth. So we use fire as a source of purification. And then Yam emerges, and Yam means wind, so the wind blows and scatters all obstructing habitual tendencies. And then Kam, and this is the water, and so it dissolves everything into emptiness, and this purifies all faults and defects in the Tsok offering. So Ram, Yam, Kam, is we've purified them with the fire, wind, and water. Then, in the next paragraph, not mentioned in the practice text, now emerges from the pervading space and transforms into immense kalpa, kalpa being the skull cup, of wisdom. As the Dharmadhatu, the skull cup is white on the outside, red on the inside, stands on a tripod of skulls, which we've seen in our small one here. There are skulls there at the corners of the 3 different sides. And then above, Ram, the seed syllable of fire, and then Yam, the syllable of wind. The kalpa is divided into 5 sections, 1 in each of the 4 directions, and a central part. So the sections contain the 5 meats and the 5 nectars. So the 5 meats, if you're not familiar with those, are the meat of beef, dog, elephant, horse, and human. And the nectars are feces, urine, blood, semen, and marrow, or some lists include brain instead of marrow. And so then we say Om Ahong 3 times, and Yam at the bottom blows the wind, so Ram blazes with fire. The nectar then boils up and steam rises. It touches 3 syllables, Om Ahong, that are arranged one above each other inside the hub of the 5-spoked Vajra. The Vajra So 5-spoked Vajra that's inside the lid. And then the 3 syllables emanate rays of light that radiate to the pure fields in the 10 directions and invoke the wisdom nectar, which then returns and melts into the nectar inside the kalpa. The offerings inside the kalpa then transform into primordial wisdom and appear as nectar. This suffuses the realms of the 3 kayas in the form of beautiful rays of rainbow light. Steam rises and forms of clouds of rainbow colors from which all manner of pleasing and delightful things and sensual stimulants proliferate and spread throughout the whole of space, like offering clouds of Samittabhadra, or the offerings of the sky treasure. So that is something that we are visualizing happening as we recite that verse in the text. Next, then, we invite the deities to the tzok. And there's a cross-reference to page 75 in the other commentary. So we first invite the guests. Hong from Akanishta, which is basically Dharmakaya, the realm of the great bliss, which would be the Sambhogakaya, the Namanakaya land of Oregon to the west, and especially the glorious mountain of Nagyab, which is the copper-colored mountain. The sacred places and lands of the 8 charnel grounds and so on, all you deities of Rigdzin Dupa, pray honor our invitation to the tzok and come. So we invite all of the deities. The commentary there basically says the same thing. So we'll go on to page 151, the place of the tzok. The text reads, the tzok shrine in the charnel ground is so full of joy, a gathering of dakinis, so heartwarming and inviting, the yogins and yoginis so very pure in their samaya. The delightful tzok offerings are so bright and pleasing. Please come, shower down your great blessings on this tzok feast. Grant us supreme and ordinary cities. So here the tzok shrine in the charnel ground, that's the location of where the shrine is in the charnel ground. Where the tzok feast is taking place, has all the qualities of interdependent symbols, meanings, and correspondences. So it's a perfect place full of joy. And then the yogins and yoginis are so pure in their samaya, they have never caused disharmony among themselves. The vast tzok offerings are delightful sensual stimulants of the 5 kinds. They're all pleasing in different ways there. And then guests, the lamas, yidams, buddhas, bodhisattvas, dakas, dakinis, dharma protectors and guardians, please come and shower down your great blessings and grant us the supreme city, which here references the level of a Vidyadhara Lama, which is also the same level as a Buddha, and ordinary cities, and all the qualities of the 8 great accomplishments. You can look that term up in the glossary. It's a little bit elaborate. Then the offering, the first portion. The first portion is the offering to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, Hong, the 3 roots deities, ocean of Vidyadharas, dakinis, and dharma protectors who keep samayas, accept these tzok offerings of sensual enjoyments we give you. Grant us the supreme and ordinary cities. Gana Chakra Puja Kahi. So here all the deities are gathered, and the ocean of Vidyadharas, the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, as well as dakas, dakinis, dharma protectors, and so forth. So you emanate offering goddesses from your heart. So we're from our heart are going out. They're around us. So we're offering, these offering goddesses are coming out to make the offerings to them, to multiply and offer all these deities clouds of sensual enjoyments. These offerings satisfy the guests, and so we request them to grant us the 2 cities. So the mantra is Gana Chakra Puja Kahi. So Gana means the tzok or gathering. Chakra means wheel. The mandala is what's being referred to here. The puja means to offer, and then Kahi means to accept. So the offerings fill the hearts and minds of the guests with great bliss. Next we have a confession. So cross-reference to the other commentary on page 76. Hong, in all my lives, beginning with every violation of root and branch samayas I have committed since I passed the door of secret mantra, offering the central stimulants of tok, I now confess. Vajra samaya ah. So the comments, in all my lives I have been circling in samsara, entered the Mahayana path, and I may have any errors or violations I may have committed, I now confess. So that is the kind of a practice that we are said to do in Tantra, that we confess whenever we do these things of any mistakes that we have made in order to maintain our samaya commitments to these things. We need to confess any of these and make sure that we address them. So on page 153 then we have the Annihilation and Offerings. Now we're making offerings to our own, well, the annihilation. What we're annihilating here are our own demons. So there's a cross-reference to this also on page 72. There are some details, but we're going to skip over those details and go on then to page 2, or excuse me, page 154, part 2 at the bottom of the text here, the Rigdzin Dupa text. Hong, ignorance, karma, negative emotions, and dualistic grasping breed ego clinging and its rudras, or the demon forms of those. I strike down their body, nri tri da. I send their consciousness into the expanse of Dharmadhatu with a pe, and then enjoy the tzok offering of their body. Rudra sarva hala pensa putsa kahi. So dualistic grasping, the destructive emotions, and ignorant actions or karma are the root of the three realms of existence of samsara. They breed self-grasping mind, the source of all of our outer, inner, and secret rudras of self, and self-grasping. So these are the real enemies. And so we visualize ourselves as, in this case, Palchen Haruka, or Chimchak Haruka. And we have a tanka of Chimchak Haruka over here on the wall. So you hold the purba in your hands, and it lets out sparks of fire from its tip. And we see the purba as the supreme sun here, and say, I strike down the aggregates of the physical form of the Rudra of self-grasping. Visualize the heart of the target of annihilation of syllables Nri and Tri, which are the support of their defiled consciousness. As you say Za, the Rudras are repressed and overwhelmed and faint. All their thoughts and concepts dissolve into Dharmata. So we've purified these now. In other words, Pate sends the consciousness up into the expanse of the Dharmadhatu, and then with the Rudra's physical form transformed into untainted tzok offerings, we say, deities of the ocean like mandala, please accept and enjoy these offerings. So the mantra, actually there's a mistake here in the text. It says Rudra Hala. It should be Rudra Sarva Hala. If you look back on the previous page, the actual mantra includes Sarva in between there. Or in Sanskrit it would be Sarva with a V, but the Tibetans pronounce it with the W, Sarva. Rudra Sarva Hala, that's the flesh and blood of the liberated Rudras of dualistic grasping. So they've been liberated here. With Pansa, they are transformed into the 5 wisdom nectars, and then Putsa Kahi, enjoy this offering. So as you then share the tzok, so this would be where, we've already done the one where we're offering it to the Buddhas and so forth of the mandala. Normally we would set a plate with sampling of all of the different offerings onto the shrine is the way that that is done. But now we're ready to share it with the sadhana that's gathered. So consider that you receive fully all the compassion, empowerments, and blessings of the qualities of body, speech, and mind, as well as wisdom, love, and power of the deities. They come to you in the form of the 4 empowerments and dissolve into you. So now we're receiving the empowerments, just like we do in Guru Yoga, where we receive the 4 empowerments from Padmasambhava. And so that's the same idea here. We realize the indivisibility of the Samaya Sattva, Jnana Sattva, and rest in the natural state. So here would be a good place to do a little bit of a meditation, just resting in the natural state. Then we go on to the remainder. The third part of a typical tzok or Gana Chakra feast would be the remainder. And so we always save out a little bit, or normally I guess, we save out a little bit of what we shared with each other in the tzok, and that becomes the piece that is used here for the remainder. Home. On the edge of the great mandala, and there's a cross-reference here on page 80. Hong, on the edge of the great mandala dwell Ishvaris, Gings, and Lankas, various forms of protectors. Accept this remainder torma and protect us yogins from obstacles to accomplishment. Utsita Balinkta Kahi. Round the edge of the great mandala, primordial wisdom, are the Ishvaris and the Gings and the Rashasas. So these are all kind of forms of what normally would be demons that have been converted into protectors. Also, there are the dakinis, the messengers, and so on. They are the guests to whom we offer the remainder. In essence, they are but magical display of Palchen Haruka's compassion. Okay? So again, these are our own inner protectors, if you will, in the form of compassion. They appear in the form of worldly demons. We imagine them that way, but that's not what they really are. They cannot lay claim to the main offering portion, but they can partake of the remainder. So we offer them the remainder torma. And sometimes there's actually a separate torma used for that purpose. Other times it's just we go around and we collect from each of the individuals a piece of the regular offering to be used for that purpose. And then they accept this and we request them to protect us, and then the Vajramaster and students, us being the Vajramaster and students, from any obstacles. So Utsita means remainder, Balinkta is torma, and Kahi is accept and enjoy. So we make the offerings, the guests are satisfied and accomplish the activities that we request of them. That is, we request them to protect us. Next we have summoning, and so here we're invoking and reminding them of their pledges. So these are the protector. They made a pledge to protect us. So we're invoking them to come and reminding them of that pledge that they made. There's a cross-reference on page 81 in the other commentary. Then Hong, rise up, Rigdzin Dupa deities, reveal your form out of Dharmadhatu, crush any obstacle to enlightenment, halt the degeneration of the elements in the environment and beings, heal any deterioration to channels, wind energy, and Wang Tang, or Wang Tong, probably more accurate. Wang Tong literally means the field of power, so there's a sense of presence or genuineness about that. And then take us to the fruition of practice. So who is it here that's rising up? These are the deities. Where? They arise from the Rupakaya, in the Rupakaya form, from the primordial wisdom of Dharmadhatu. What do? They do wrathful activities to crush whatever obstacles we have to enlightenment. They heal any degeneration related to the elements and to the outer universe and sentient beings, and they restore our Vajra body, our pure body, if you will, and the special support that we need to attain enlightenment through healing any deterioration in the channels, wind energy, and the Wang Tang, or strength. So it's strength or power in this context, and so on. So they take us then to the fruition of the practice, the Rigdzin Dupa, and give us all of the siddhis, ordinary and supreme. Then we do the Chito. This is the covenant. There's a cross-reference on page 82. So the Chito that we are offering is to the protectors at the edge of the great mandala, so the same one that we were invoking in the previous section there. So to the protectors, and then we remind them of the samaya that they pledged to keep. We encourage them to accomplish what they have promised, and we offer them the actual dharma. Hong, long ago in Akanishta heaven of great bliss and pleasant places such as the three god realms, when the great secret tantras were revealed, the protectors of the Vajrayana teachings were given a seat in accordance with their solemn samaya vow. So the idea is that when they were enthroned within this practice, they were given this seat, the throne, if you will, and they were able to participate in these things, but conditioned on them acting as protectors. Okay, so we're reminding them of that. I'm going to skip a little bit over to the next page then on 158 at the top. Then in Tibet, the land of snows, when the master Pema Totrang Tal, well, Pema Totrang, they shortened it, turned the secret mantra wheel of Dharma. He seized the heart and life force of the great gods and spirits, and they joined the ranks of the guardians of the teachings. And so Pema Totrang Tal, who came to Tibet to help build Samaya monastery there, and then of course they had trouble because it kept getting torn down, and so, well, it wasn't he, I have to back up a little bit, the Shintarakshita who came to build it, and then they kept tearing it down at night. Every night what they did in the daytime got torn down, and so Shintarakshita went to the king and says, I think you need to invite Pema Totrang Tal, or Padmasambhava, to come and address these wrathful spirits here. And so he did, and then as a part of that, through his prayers, he seized the heart and life force of the great gods and spirits of Tibet, and they took this oath to guard the teachings. And so it continues here, the text continues, finally in the pure field of clear light, in the palace of great bliss, the Vidyadhara Pema Wangchen, that's Jigme Lingpa, was entrusted in the lotus-born and Drime Odzur. Lotus-born, of course, is Padmasambhava, and Drime Odzur is Longchenpa, with the vast and profound expanse of Longchen Ningtek. So those three are the key figures in the Longchen Ningtek, and transmission of that. When the Dakini of all-pervading space of wisdom gave him the symbolic script of the clear expanse, that is the Longchen Ningtek, the life force raiser of wild Rahus, that's Rahula, and others took the solemn oath to be fierce protectors of this teaching. So down below the quote there in the last paragraph, so clear light is completely free from any sort of existence in essence. Basic space, pure, without adventitious stain, is clear and cognizant in nature. This clear and cognizant aspect is what pure field and the palace of great bliss refers to. So when we say clear light, which is the same thing that's being referred to here, so there's this clear aspect of it, and then the light is it illuminates, so it's the cognizant aspect of it. But that's the same thing as Rigpa. Rigpa means pure awareness. So pure is the clear part, and awareness is the cognizant part of that. So the pure field it also mentions. And then in the sadhana, Vidyadhara Pema Wangchang stands for Jigme Lingpa, as I mentioned. Jigme Lingpa beheld the joyful faces of the lotus-born Guru Pamasambhava and the omniscient Drime Odzur Longchenpa, who offered him a gift of an ocean of pith instruction. So Jigme Lingpa was at some caves close to Samaya. Well, he was different places. Okay, the first place it was that he was at the Great Mound in Kathmandu and encountered them there, and then he also went to this cave close to Samaya Monastery and then encountered them once again. So he received the teachings of the Longchen Ningtek. They spoke to him the words of encouragement and inspiration. They blessed him, and on the walkway of the Bodhnath Stupa, that's the stupa there in Nepal, the Great Stupa, Jigme Lingpa met face to face with the Dakini of Dharmakaya Space Wisdom. She gave him the symbolic script, the yellow scroll of the heart essence of clear expanse, the Longchen Ningtek, and opened the seal of the space treasury for his mind terma. So it talks about this as if it's something physical, but it's really not. It's in his mind. And then the fierce protectors, such as Rahula, gathered to keep watch over the terma. So he accepted this offering terma with all of its ornaments and carry out the 4 activities. Continuing on then, preserving the relationship with the Tenma sisters, more protectors here. There's a cross-reference on page 84 in the other commentary. Hong, you who obey the command of the glorious one and protect Tibet, 12 mother and sisters Tenma, come accept the rinsing water of the Torma and carry out the activities we demand of you. Mama ring ring balinkta kahi. In the Ashura cave at the border of India and Nepal, Pamasambhava opened the mandala and gave the Vajrayana empowerment. He bound the recipients under oath to obey his command. When the 12 Tenma made their pledge and promised to protect Tibet, he poured Samaya water on their tongues of the Tenmas and placed a symbolic crown on each of their heads, placed the unchanging Vajra in their hands, and entrusted them to protect Tibet, and particularly to prevent the Tritikas from entering. And then these 12 Tenma sisters are also known as the 12 Mamos of supreme bliss. They are the 4 female demons, the 4 Minmos, and the 4 Yakshinis. So different groups here that are included in the 12, 3 groups of 4. So the first ones, the Mamos are wrathful females, the Minmos are female protectors, the Yakshinis are beautiful, voluptuous female protectors. So we have all these different forms that are included here. The mantra Mama is the essence of the 12 Mamos, and then ring ring, gather here, balinkta, torma, and kahi, accomplish. The next thing in this Torma activity is the horse dance. And there's a cross-reference on page 84 here. Hong in the mandala of the Vidyadhara victors, all Damsi demons who pervert and lead astray. So they share Samaya, but those are people that have actually participated in and received the empowerment, so they share those with us, but they did not uphold their commitment to that. So they become what are called these Damsi demons. They're demons to us in that they can cause us to not uphold our own commitments. And they are suppressed beneath the seal of the 9 yanas. Let them never rise again. Tam Baya Nen. So the Damsi demon is someone whom we have shared samayas, a Vajra, that we have shared samayas. So anybody that takes an empowerment with us would be included in that. A brother, Vajra brother or sister with whom we received empowerments and commitments, but who has stained them and become a demon. So we summon them to suppress them under the Dharma receptacle, all those who are now creating obstacles in the correct practice, the profound mandala of the victorious ones of the Lama Rigdzin, and the accomplishment of the city's ordinary supreme, the demons of dualistic, deluded thinking who pervert and lead us astray, are all suppressed beneath the Dharma receptacle, symbolizing the absolute nature free from delusion, and appears clearly as an iron Mount Meru. And we banish them to the city of Yama beneath the earth. We hold them there with this seal of the 9 yanas, which it lists, then saying, until the 3 realms of samsara are completely empty, you will never rise again. So that completes the Tsok part of this. Now, the actual completion part of the entire practice continues on here with some additional prayers. And so the first one is receiving the cities. There's a cross-reference to this one on page 85 in the other commentary. Ho, deities of the mandala of Vidyadharas, the samayas of approach and accomplishment are fulfilled. The dawn of Vajrasattva is breaking. The time has come to grant us the cities. Send from the mandalas of your body, speech, and mind the blessings of supreme, secret, and non-dwelling wisdom of Vajra body, speech, and mind. Grant us all the cities, supreme and ordinary, this very instant. Om Ahung Vajra Guru Pema Totrink Tsal Vajra Samayatsa Kaya Wakatita Alala Siddhi Pala Hum. So this is the mantra for receiving the cities. So Ho is an expression of joy, so rejoice, and then at the ordinary, receiving the ordinary and supreme cities, we're happy to have now perfectly fulfilled the commitments and the measured in signs, number of recitations, or duration of practice that we talked a little bit about before. These cities are the result of practicing the approach and accomplishment according to the samaya of the deities. Now, we say, now the dawn of Vajrasattva is breaking in the east. At this first moment of dawn, the time has come to grant us the supreme and ordinary cities. So we ask the Lama Vidyadharas to send the blessings, the inseparable unity of appearance and emptiness, and does not dwell or fall into either the 2 extremes of samsara and nirvana. And this is the essence of the 3 Vajras, enlightened body, speech, and mind. We ask them to grant us the supreme city, and also to give us the 8 ordinary cities. And it lists them here, a little bit different list: the celestial realm, sword, pill, fleet-footedness, vase, the yaksha servants, elixir, and balm of magic sight. And then it explains each of these a little bit in that list. We'll skip over that and go over to the explanation of the mantra here on 163. Kaya means body, Waka is speech, Zita is mind, Sarwa, all, Alala, expression of joy. Siddhi is accomplishment, Pala means good, and Hung, grant them to us. Then we have the confession. This is again a very familiar kind of thing that happens toward the end of silentness. So this has a cross-reference on page 87. Hung in the mandala of the gathering of Vidyadharas, incomplete offerings, inattentive practice, drowsy, dull, and lifeless meditation, all such confusion and mistakes I confess. Forgive me, I pray. So to all the deities then we confess whatever incomplete offerings that we have made, any distractions that we have, anything that we've done in our meditation that was obscured by things like dullness, drowsiness, and lifelessness. We confess all our confusion and mistakes and ask them to forgive us in their wisdom, and then we recite the 100-syllable mantra to purify all impairments of Samaya. So the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva is the usual approach to doing this. Sometimes we also include the syllables, the vowel and consonant syllables of Sanskrit in those as well. Another way to do that, or in addition to do more of that. Then we go to the dissolution. So here there's a cross-reference on page 88. So first it talks about dissolution in general. In Mahayoga, the Dzogchen dissolution is as follows: the pure wisdom deities who appear from the causal mantra syllable Hung dissolve into suchness, the dharmata in reverse of the way they appeared. So in other words, we start from the outside, so the protectors are on the outside. We start with the protectors, we dissolve those into the sesame seeds in a pot, if you will, all of the other forms, the dakinis, the deities, the bodhisattvas, and so forth, into the 8 Vidyadharas, and then finally into our body, and then into the jnana-sattva at our heart, and then the jnana-sattva into the seed syllable, and then or sometimes it has more detail than that, but here into the seed syllable, and then the seed syllable from the bottom up into emptiness. So we dissolve the whole thing. So this pure field dissolves into the palace, so they include the palace here. The palace into the deities, deities into the principal deity, principal into so we would be the principal in the form of the principal deity here. Then into the jnana-sattva into the mantra garland, another detail. Mantra garland into the samadhi sattva, so that's the one at our heart. But we're no longer there, so it's just the remaining sattva there. And the samadhi sattva, which is the seed syllable, the quarter seed syllable dissolves into dharmadhatu, emptiness. And you rest for a moment free of reference points. So this is another place where you meditate for a little bit. And then from this state of clear light, the illusory post-meditation form of the deity arises again. So after we've done the meditation, we reappear as the deity. The universe and the beings within it all arise as the mandala of deity, so we're recreating everything that dissolved. This is the crucial point for eliminating the extreme of nihilism. So nihilism is a form of thinking that nothing exists. And so when you go into emptiness, that's it. It's just emptiness, like a void. But here, by coming back and recreating everything, we don't begin thinking of everything as just a void, okay, which would be the extreme of nihilism. Then in the post-meditation session, you go about your activities seeing everything as an illusion. Then in the Rigdzin Dupa text, Ho, like bubbles dissolving in water, the self-manifesting deity mandala reabsorbs into the expanse of primordial wisdom, Vajra Mu. The post-meditation, everything arises as the illusory body of the deity. And skipping the next paragraph, which basically repeats that, then we rest in, well, it's not a full paragraph, the middle of the next paragraph there. Rest in equipoise as long as you can. Then in post-meditation, the Vajradhara Sagatas arise instantly. You see the whole universe and every being within it as a display of body, speech, and mind of the Vajradhara Lama. Place the 3 syllables at your 3 centers, knowing that their essence is body, speech, and mind of all the victorious Buddhas, to wear the armor equivalent to the deity. So those 3 syllables are thought of as a form of armor, a form of protection, if you will, for us as the deity. And then we resume our usual activities with clear light or rigpa, at least as best as you can do that. And then we have the dedication and aspiration prayers. There's a cross-reference on page 90. Ho, I dedicate all virtues of the 3 times to be the cause for all to realize primordial omniscience. May I and all those gathered here attain enlightenment together in one mandala. So all our Vajra brothers and sisters, we want to attain enlightenment together. We dedicate all roots of virtue, in particular the merit of the assembly. So all the merit that we have accrued through doing the practice, we dedicate. to be the cause for every being to attain the level of universal Lord and primordial protector Samittabhagra, unsurpassable omniscience. Through this, may everyone gathered here attain enlightenment together in one mandala without ever separating. Then we have a prayer of auspiciousness, which is a cross-reference on page 91. So in general, every Buddha and Bodhisattva manifest as Rupakayas out of the Dharmadhatu. They dance gracefully with beauty, attractive, auspicious expressions. They play every kind of musical instrument and chant melodiously the words of auspiciousness. Their minds remain in the unchanging equality of the all-pervading Dharmadhatu. They let flowers of auspiciousness fall from their hands in a refreshing shower that triumphs over all adversity and harmful circumstances and causes virtues and positive qualities to increase. And then you recite the mantra of the essence of interdependent origination and consider all delight that you enjoy the glory of this new golden age. Now, it doesn't give us the mantra of the essence of interdependent origination here, but you can find that in our prayer book. It's in most of those is the beginning where it starts out in emptiness, so that's part of that. And then in the Rigdzin Dupa text, through the blessing of the lineage of Vidyadharas and the truth of the three jewels and the circumstances by the profound secret mantrayana, may all be auspicious to quell the 8 fears, may all be auspicious for increasing longevity and merit, may all be auspicious to bring appearances under our control, may all be auspicious to annihilate negative forces. All sights and grasping at them are the perfect mudra of the deity's forms. All sounds are pure and great bliss mantra. All thoughts mature as clear light Dharmakaya. May all be auspicious so that we attain the unimpeding rainbow body. So there's some additional explanation of some of that, but most of it is pretty clear. So that gets us to the end of this second commentary with the embedded form of the actual sadhana practice, which you have a copy of, and we will talk more about next time. There are a couple more chapters. They are a little bit shorter, and so give us a little bit of time to go through the sadhana and as a unity, and also talk a little bit more about the Ati Yoga concise version of that as well. So hopefully you'll have time to read through those at least once before the next week, so that it'll be a little bit more familiar. The last thing I wanted to mention is that if you're interested in some of the other prayers that can be included in the concluding part of that, if you look in Innate Happiness at the end, there are the sadhana practices there, and those sadhana practices have a number of those other practices, including the vowels and consonants and the interdependent mantra that's listed here, and so forth. So you can include those kinds of things if you want as well. So we are done for this week. We'll see you next week.